The day the Nori ships appeared in Earth's sky changed everything. 7 massive vessels, each shaped like smooth silver eggs, hung over major cities. They did not attack. They simply waited. Dr. Ta Kim sat in his small office at Seoul National University, watching the news like everyone else. His phone rang. "Dr. Kim, this is General Lee. Your country needs you." 3 days later, Ta stood with scientists from around the world as the first Nori stepped out of their ship. The alien was tall and slender with pale blue skin that seemed to shift colors like the surface of a soap bubble. Its 4 arms moved in graceful patterns as it made sounds unlike any human language. "Amazing," whispered Ta, recording everything on his tablet. The world's best translators tried to communicate with the aliens. They used computers, hand signals, and simple pictures. The Nori watched, their skin flashing with patches of yellow and green. "They're laughing at us," Ta said suddenly. The American diplomat next to him frowned. "How can you tell?" "Look at their color patterns. They repeat when we make mistakes. It's like when you try not to smile at a child's silly mistake." The head Nori, who called himself Commander Krill, finally produced a device that translated his words into flat, simple English. "We come in peace. We bring gifts. We help humans." The words were basic, like speaking to a toddler. At the reception afterward, Todd watched the Nori carefully. When they spoke to each other, their language was rich and complex, sounds, colors, and movements all working together. But when they spoke to humans, everything simplified. "Dr. Kim." A familiar voice made Ta turn around. "June, what are you doing here?" Ta smiled at his old friend from university. Jun Park adjusted his glasses. "They called me in for the math team. The Nori technology uses principles we've barely imagined." Ta looked back at the aliens. "They think we're stupid, Jun. They're talking down to us. How can you be sure?" Todd pointed to a group of Nori across the room. "Watch when they think we're not looking. Their colors change completely. I've been recording patterns. Something isn't right." Later that night, Ta sent messages to people he trusted. Jun for mathematics, Hae Newell for computing, and Su Min for cultural analysis. In his small hotel room, he played back his recordings. "Look here," he told them through the video call. "When Commander Krill speaks to the UN Secretary, his skin patterns make these specific sequences. But when he speaks to other Nori, it's completely different," said Hae Newell, leaning toward her screen. "The frequencies and patterns don't match at all." "I think they have layers to their language," Ta said. "And they're only using the simplest layer with us." "Why would they do that?" asked Su Min. Tae's face was serious. "Because they don't see us as equals. And that might be very dangerous for Earth." Jun nodded slowly. "So what do? "We learn their real language," said Ta. "All of it. Not just what they want us to know." Outside, the Nori ships glowed softly in the night sky, while inside, 4 humans began a project that would change humanity's future forever. 1 month after first contact, the Nori had set up trading posts in 12 major cities. They offered medical technology and clean energy devices in exchange for water, certain metals, and land rights for their bases. "This deal seems good for both sides," said the American president after signing the latest agreement. Todd watched the recording of the signing ceremony from his new lab in the basement of Seoul University. The president smiled and shook hands with Commander Krill. But Todd noticed how the alien skin flickered with quick bursts of orange when the treaty was signed. "There it is again," said Ty, freezing the video. "That same pattern." Jun looked up from his computer. "I've seen it before too. Right before they get something they want." Hae Newell typed rapidly on her keyboard. "The pattern shows up in 87% of successful negotiations. I think it's their version of satisfaction." For weeks, Ta's small team had worked in secret. They recorded every Nori interaction they could find. Public speeches, private meetings, even conversations between Nori when they thought no humans were watching. "Look at this," said Su-min, pointing to her screen. 3 distinct communication systems working together. On her screen, colorful diagrams showed 3 overlapping patterns from a single Nori conversation. "The first layer is what they use with us," Tai explained. "Simple concepts, basic needs. The second layer has complex ideas, science, philosophy, true diplomatic language," added June. "And the third," Hae-Nul's voice was quiet. "The third layer has command structures, dominance patterns." Ta nodded. "And when they speak to humans, they emit these third-layer patterns, the same ones they use with their servant species." The team worked day and night. Hae-Nul built a special computer program to analyze the language patterns. June found mathematical structures hidden in the sound frequencies. Su-min identified cultural markers that showed respect, or lack of it. "It's ready," said Ta one evening, looking at a small device in his hand. It was their prototype translator, built to understand all 3 layers of Nori language. The next day, Commander Krill visited Seoul to discuss a new water extraction deal. After the main meeting, Tai approached the alien in the hallway. "Commander," said Tai in normal human speech. Then he pressed a button on his device. It produced a series of sounds while Ta's skin-colored gloves shifted through patterns of light. The patterns matched exactly what Tai had seen the Nori use with each other, the true diplomatic language. Commander Krill froze. His blue skin flared bright yellow, then deep purple, a pattern Tai had never seen before. The alien's 4 arms went completely still. "How did you?" The translation device on Krill's chest struggled to form words. Ta spoke again through his device, this time including a simple mathematical sequence in the color patterns of his gloves. Krill's eyes widened. He looked around quickly, then leaned closer to Ta. "Who else knows?" the alien asked, his skin now dark with concern. "Enough of us," Tai answered simply. Within an hour, the Nori ship above Seoul had called an emergency meeting with Earth's leaders. Something had changed, and everyone could feel it. 3 days after Ta's conversation with Commander Krill, everything changed. The Nori announced that Krill had been called back to their home planet. A new representative named Senior Diplomat Vren arrived to take his place. It was just luck, Vren told Earth's leaders at their first meeting. Dr. Kim happened to make sounds that seemed like our language. Nothing more. But Tai and his team knew better. The Nori were worried. "They've upgraded our status," said Su-min, studying videos of the new meetings. "Look at Vren's skin patterns. He's using more respectful colors now." In their lab, the team worked harder than ever. Hae-Nul improved their translation program. June discovered something amazing about the Nori language. Their casual conversations contain math, he explained, pointing to his charts. Hidden math problems and solutions. They test each other all the time. Ta nodded. "Language is how they judge intelligence. That's why they look down on us." The team's work became more urgent when they found a serious problem. They translated old agreements between humans and the Nori, using all 3 layers of meaning. "This is bad," said Tai, looking pale. "The water rights agreement. The 3rd layer gives them control of all orbital space above those areas. They've been claiming parts of Earth's orbit," said Hae-Nul. Piece by piece. The team took their findings to the United Nations. Some leaders didn't believe them. Others were angry. Many were scared. "We need to show strength," said Ta. "But not with weapons, with their own language." For 2 weeks, they built a new system. Hae-Nul created special quantum computers that could translate perfectly in real time. June developed beautiful mathematical proofs that could be embedded in their speech. Su-min taught them the exact body movements and cultural signals needed. The day came for a major meeting with the Nori. Earth's leaders gathered to discuss the orbital rights issue. Vren stood tall and confident, his skin glowing with subtle patterns as he spoke. "These agreements are clear," said Vren through his translator. "You gave us these rights freely. The human delegates looked confused and worried. This was when Tai stepped forward, wearing special gloves and a small projector that cast colors onto his skin. Ta spoke, but not in human language. His voice made complex sounds while his skin displayed shifting patterns of light. Hidden in his speech was an elegant mathematical proof about orbital mechanics. The room fell silent. Vren's blue skin turned almost white. Ta continued speaking in perfect Nori language, all 3 layers at once. He explained that humans understood everything now. The hidden meanings, the tricks in the agreements, the way the Nori had been treating them as lesser beings. Then Ta said something that made all the Nori in the room change color at once. "We decoded your language faster than any species you've ever met. What does that tell you about us?" The Nori delegates looked at each other. For the first time, fear showed in their color patterns. Not fear of human weapons or technology, but fear that they had deeply underestimated human intelligence. Senior diplomat Vren stood still for a long moment. The other Nori in the room looked at each other, their skin shifting through colors that showed surprise and worry. "We need to speak privately," Vren finally said to Ta. In a small meeting room, Vren faced Ta, Jun, Henul, and Su Min. The alien's skin had settled into a calm blue color. "In 10,000 years, Vren said slowly, no species has ever decoded our full language so quickly. You shouldn't have looked down on us," said Tai simply. Vren nodded. "The Nori believe language is the highest form of intelligence. We test each other with it. We judge others by it." "And you judged us as simple," said Su Min. "Yes." Vren's skin showed patches of purple, a color Ta now recognized as regret. "We were wrong." That afternoon, the Nori met again with Earth's leaders. This time, everything was different. Humans had special devices that translated all 3 layers of the Nori language. Nothing could be hidden anymore. "All previous agreements must be reviewed," said the UN Secretary General. "We agree," said Vren, and his colors showed he meant it. Over the next week, humans and Nori worked together to fix the old agreements. The orbital rights were returned to Earth. The trade deals were made fair for both sides. Ta worked closely with Vren during this time. The Nori diplomats seemed curious about him. "Your team did what our scientists thought impossible," Vren said one day. "Why were you able to see what others missed?" Tai thought about it. "Maybe because I always felt what it's like when people don't understand you. I grew up speaking a different dialect than my classmates. I know how language can divide or connect people." Vren's skin showed a new pattern, one that meant deep thought. On the final day of the new negotiations, Vren made an announcement. "The Nori High Council has decided to offer Earth full alliance status. We will share all our knowledge with humans as equals." The room erupted in cheers. It was more than anyone had hoped for. Later, as Tai packed up his notes, a message appeared on his tablet. It was in perfect Korean writing. "Your language is beautiful too. I am learning it to show respect. Vren." Tai smiled. He looked out the window at the Nori ships. They no longer seemed threatening. 2 days later, Tai was called to a special meeting. A new alien ship had arrived in orbit. It wasn't Nori. "They're called the Mivik," explained the general. "They want to speak with you specifically." On the video screen, a green reptilian alien appeared. It spoke through a rough translator. "We heard what you did with the Nori language," the alien said. "Our people have been under Nori control for centuries. Can you help us speak to them as equals?" Ta looked at his team. They all nodded. "Yes," said Ta. "We can help you." Around the galaxy, word was spreading. The humans of Earth had done something remarkable. They had shown that understanding language was the first step to true peace. And now, species who had been silenced for generations were finding their voice.